MMOs compared to working on movies or single-player games that are more of a one-shot project. Asgeir, for example, has been now with CCP for over 10 years, so we were the first artist there, I mean, in the league for many years before becoming the art director. So Asgeir is actually the guy who designed a lot of what we still see in Eve today. And because it's an MMO, it's a constant evolution. It's the game, the society within the game, and so on evolves, and the look of it, of course, as well. Asgeir wouldn't draw today a spaceship similar to what he did 10 years ago because there is an evolution there.
And that's standards have gone up pretty much. Yeah. I would hardly hire myself today. And it, wrapping the presentation also matters a lot. If an artist would just throw some sketches in a book and give it to me like really rough, I know that guy doesn't care very much about getting the job. If he on the other end, looks at what other companies are doing and how they present their concept art and tries to do it in a similar way and deliver it to us like that, he has a better chance. Then we know at least the guy or the person cares.
That's part of the idea of doing a bit of compromise and playing the game with I put it on the screen there, sure. You can check compromise. What kind of teams do the artists work with? And they work with programs workers, is the technology it used to be It depends a bit on the teams we work with. I don't know who is probably to contribute or familiar with the Agile and Scrum teams and so on. We work with that model at CCP now. It really depends on what assets the artists are working on. If we are making new spaceships, for example, it's pretty straightforward. We know the specifications. We go straight to push a bit, and then we have software directors telling us that it's not efficient enough, and people optimizing our textures and so on with the hacks. And but it's kind of there is a technical compromise there. It depends. Like in the last expansion, we redid, for example, all the planets that were getting really old and looking like crap. And I think we did a really good job there, and it was tough because it was a very technical task. We had a lot of work printing texture, but then, and that's still what we call technical art, textures that needed then this procedural way to be mixed and mapped together so we could achieve different types of planets with atmosphere amount, ice or land, ocean, and so on. So it was very technical. In cases like that, the artists have to work very closely with programmers, definitely. And I would say that all the concept artists that we have now at CCP have, on different levels, a certain technical mindset. Most of them can do basic 3D, know how to work textures that you can slap on in Maya and so on. So they all have a good understanding of when they draw something, they can I think picture very quickly in their head how it's going to look in game later on. It's important, definitely. It's a computer game, so I'm not saying that people need to be gamers and need to be nerds and computer geeks. I mean, we have some people in the department that still really like paper and scanning and are a bit lost with Photoshop or even Firefox. That's true. One guy in mind is interesting for that. But as long as he understands all the creation process and he managed to get that through, it's totally it's not an issue. But yeah, it is technical, of course. Like everything you do today, I mean, even if you're a graphic designer and you design some logos, you have to have in mind, how is it going to look when it goes to printing or on a TV screen or this or that.
Although usually in the beginning, I don't have to worry about the program. In the beginning of designing an art for the game, I don't want the artist to worry about the polygon count or something like that.
talking about presentation, like Asgeir was in that direction, I put that on screen, which is a bit over the top. We spent a lot of time on those concept sheets, but it was an interesting kind of research, visual research aspect for us. And weeks of work that went through those. For example, Hilmar Örn is one of the 4 main races in EVE Online, and we are designing some environments for inside of the space stations. So, for example, here, very practical but very interesting thing to do when you develop something in a team. You have to, of course, kind of put everything in perspective. And here, for example, even when we think about interiors, environments, and things like that, we still try to build up the references in a way that really gives the right pointers in terms of style, color palettes also here. So that's a lot of work for the concept artist and for Asgeir to kind of nail that down, because it will really give the specificities of the game. And then here are some of the blockouts that I was talking about. That's typically something that came out of rough sketches from concept artists trying to imagine an interior. And then basically the 3D modelers make a very rough 3D model like that shows the dimensions and the proportions and so on. And then, so that the screen is not right there. I'm going to show you another one that is a bit better. It's another race. So, of course, other references here. There's also some of the classic spaceship designs for this specific line here. Color reference here, and shapes and materials, you see the textures. This is also very important because to do when you start a project, and that's something that has been fighting us in the ass at CCP. A lot of the content, the footage was made years and years ago when it was Asgeir and a few other guys stuck in a basement, and everybody was doing everything, and basically, I don't know, 20 people basically made Eve to start with. So there were very little documentation. Everybody knew about everything and we're working together. And now today we're getting close to 500 people globally, and actually we don't even have a proper solid visual Bible for it online. We don't even have that, just because kind of legacy. It's never. Yes?
Just wondering how rigid is your developmental process? I mean, if you're designing an object or some component of the game, do you have like a process a rigid process where you actually step 1, step 2, step 3?
It's very rigid now. It's getting more and more rigid.
Do you ever experience any lateral shifts then when you start with this concept that you move something different, or do you stay in different concept of the system?
Sometimes up to Asgeir, but it's very often up to game design, because in a way when you design, even when you do, for example, here, this is the interior of it was kind of a general study, a prototype for the interior of the captain's quarter in the station. You have to rely on game design for that. If game design is telling you that they definitely want to have an area to put a coffee table and some sofa and something like that, you have to take it into account. If they change their minds, you have to take it into account. Asgeir doesn't agree because the people would never have a coffee table.
Could you describe that just briefly, what the process is?
The process, now it's even getting more rigid in the way that we use the sprint teams at CCP, but the art teams don't use completely the sprint and scrum team process, but we do Kanban, if you're familiar with it, which is more of a kind of a big table that you have on the wall typically, and you have cards that represent each other. So let's say you want to make a new spaceship, it will start as a card with the name of the spaceship. It would first go in the column which is concept art and assign to someone, and the guy would work on it in close collaboration with Asgeir. And then once it's approved to go to the next step, it would go into a 3D as well. So it's a very linear, it's a very pipeline-oriented process, which is hard to manage, and you will see, and for those of you who are working on games, if the teams grow and the projects grow, one of the tricky things is to combine game design and art direction and art creation, because art creation takes a long time, to make designs like that, it takes days and days and weeks of work. I mean, this year